Welcome to another episode of REVXP Presents. I'm Chris Mann, the SVP of REVXP, the gaming division of the global integrated sports marketing agency Revolution. And today I am joined by Caru, the VP of talent at Fanjoy. Hey man, what's going on?
Hi, Chris. Nice chatting with you today.
Good to meet you. Good to meet you. So a little bit about Fanjoy. Fanjoy started as a merch company in 2014. They were born out of the music industry. Around 2017, they connected with Jake Paul to do merch, and now they're working with some of the biggest creators across gaming, esports, and YouTube along everywhere. And more recently, they started pivoting to become an incubator for creators wanting to start their own brands from everything from coffee to cookie dough. Did I capture everything?
Yes, that sounds about right.
Cool. Well, it's great to have you. I know you're one of the most well-connected kind of entrepreneurial minds behind the scenes, like really making things happen in gaming. So it's great to have you out here. I know you had a busy week at TwitchCon. How was that event?
TwitchCon was a vibe. It was like a movie. It finally felt like to know what a parasocial relationship is, because there's people that know me and follow me and understand what I do, but I have no idea who they are. And so now I know what it feels like to be a creator or a streamer who people come up to you and go up, Caru, and you have no idea who they are.
That's awesome. Well, was this your first TwitchCon?
It was my very first TwitchCon.
Cool. That's awesome. I went in 2019. That was my first. Didn't make it this year, but it is a cool experience to see like the community coming together with their favorite creators. A lot of people think that the gaming community just sits in their basement, kind of like I am right now, playing video games. But people love to travel, love to get out to events like BlizzCon and TwitchCon and PAX. And so it's always great to see the community come back together, because that's such a big part of gaming is coming together and playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think gaming as a whole has been really active this year again, post-pandemic. I think we really saw a surge of people at TwitchCon because, not only are they gonna meet the people that they've gone through a pandemic with, but also creators that they've watched for years and are now finally seeing them in person, like in the flesh. So I think people got really excited about that.
Absolutely. And that's the big thing for brands too, right? Like if you think about brands in gaming, is that opportunity to connect through the creator, through that, creators are sometimes the main entertainment focus. Like people are not watching as much TV. We hear cord cutters, and creators are the entertainment, are the passion points, for these younger demographic. And so the opportunity to meet them in person is always, I think, something that is really craved by both sides, to get out there and, to meet the community, to meet your fans, but also meet people that you spend so much time with. So that's cool. Well, let's jump in. The first question I love to ask people is, what games are you playing? What are you getting into right now, Caru?
Growing up, I've always wanted to work in games, some way or another. And for a time, I didn't actually play a lot of games because I was just so focused on work, or a lot of games would be spoiled for me because I would get like the PR brief on how the game would work and all of this, and kind of like the magic of like figuring things out was gone. But more recently, I've been, Overwatch 2 just came out. I played it last night with my friends, and I had a blast. I'm mostly a healer main, but I do damage sometimes. So I was playing Mei, but there's this new character called Kiriko. I hope that's the right name. She's a blast to play. She's like a Genji, but like she's a healer, and she does this cool things where it's like cards going around, and that's how she heals. She like flips the cards, and she feels like this like a DPS, but also a healer, which is kind of cool. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Overwatch right now.
We're hearing a lot of good things about Overwatch 2. Obviously, I have a soft spot in my heart for the original Overwatch. I got my start in this industry working on T-Mobile's Overwatch partnership and the T-Mobile MVP, and so I'm looking forward to getting back onto Overwatch. I haven't had the chance to play 2 yet, but similar to you, I used to love to be a Pocket Mercy, but I mean, my Pocket Mercy skills, because I'm just not good at FPS games sometimes, and that was when I wasn't at the time, and Pocket Mercy let me kind of chill, but also have a nice cold beverage in my other hand, so that I would contribute to my team, but also stay hydrated during the game, which was really nice, especially for my teammates. But all right, so let's jump into the questions, because everybody wants to know, how can they work with Fanjoy, right? You guys do a lot, right? You're a merch company, but you're bigger than that. You work with creators. You work with so much more. You're so much more than just producing merch. And so as brands think about activating in gaming and activating potentially with Fanjoy, how should they think about you guys and what you can bring to the table?
I think, we think about brands as more than just like entities. We see them as people. We say that because now with Gen Z, when Gen Alpha come around, they're not looking for a funny person on Twitter. They're looking for people that they can relate to. It seems meaningful. And so when they buy products, when they look at things, they want to know that they have a connection with that brand more than just like they were just funny on Twitter, And so I think with us, we're kind of figuring out on how we develop those really core relationships and those connections with brands. Something I can give you an example of other people's work that I felt was like spot on was when Popeyes and Megan Thee Stallion collaborated. Not only did they collaborate on a meal, they also collaborated on a merchandise drop. I thought that was insanely brilliant for them to do because, not only is, Megan part of culture at the time, post-pandemic, because of her songs, like, the designs were amazing. I thought they were really clever, and I would personally wear them too. So I think not only are you fusing these two entities, these two powerhouses, you're also, like, putting it out there in the world for people to wear and show off too. So I think there are ways like that, or specifically on the gaming side, I think creating merchandise in game. Like putting together custom jerseys or specific teams, making it so like the brand it feels like they're part of something. They're like supporting or empowering a community. So I think there are ways like that where I feel like Fanjoy has been trying to work on and do more of. Whereas, we try to create stages for brands to come on and be part of something. So part of moments. An example of that is when we first worked with EA for Apex Legends, we were trying to figure out how to advertise the new season. And something that we thought about was doing something more unique, more cool, we've never really done before. So we first looked for a creator to host it. We wanted someone who had a voice, who had something to say. And so we looked for Toast. We talked to Toast about what's something that we could potentially do that would create a lot of buzz, is very unique. And through that conversation, we ended up making a hide and seek tournament for $100,000, where it wasn't competitive. It wasn't something that people have done before, and is so out of the ordinary with a game what is naturally competitive that was really unique and people would latch onto. And so we invited some of our friends, players, different creators, streamers from all around the world to compete, and people had a blast because it was very unique. And I think that's like a stage for a brand to could potentially support and be part of that moment. So I think at Fanjoy, we're trying to bring more of those stages together so people can have those opportunities to be part of our culture.
Yeah, I think that's you hit on the thing with the hide and seek and Apex. Like Apex, battle royale game, but hide and seek not necessarily is a core game mode to that. It's very unique in its own right? And so, as people such as yourself who are in the community every day, part of the community, understanding how to put together this event, make it actually cool that people want to watch. And then brands, as a brand, the role for a brand within that is to help that and add value to that experience. Right? Let's not change the experience as a brand. Let's not come in and try to force a brand experience, but as a brand, add value to that experience that you're creating that's already cool, that's already unique, that's already part of the community, that's already something that's being done. And as a brand, come in and add value to that. And adding value can be a variety of different ways. We work with Chipotle. We add value through content, through experiences, through dropping free burrito codes in streams. And I think that, sometimes a lot of brands, they want to own things. They want to come in and they want to make it their own. And in gaming, you don't necessarily have to do that to be successful. You have to find the big moments. You guys were, you were able to create a big moment and essentially fabricate a big moment, but you use the new season launch as the kind of the jumping off point. Work with a top creator like the Sky's Toast, and then make that its own event in its own right to achieve your goal and objective of casting a new season. And supporting a new season launch in Apex, but then also think about a brand coming in and just elevating that even more. Big brands elevate things if they do it the right way in gaming.
No, you're 100% right. And I think, like you said, we worked on Chipotle. I thought that was a success. Minecraft, generically as a whole, is driving some of the new, June generation's voices, And so to be part of that moment and to, be able to bring people like Hannah and Wally Bear who are like driving conversation around games and Minecraft, who are who's Hannah, part of the Dream SMP, who's, we just saw Dream's face reveal. I mean, my man broke the internet.
Yeah,
And so
biggest moment, right? For sure.
being part of that moment, even in any kind of corner, that's I think that's such insane brand value. Being associating yourself with that moment and with those people around it.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. Like when we worked, Chipotle, we just helped them launch Garlic Guajillo Steak within the gaming community. And two of the partners you hit on, Walla Bear and Hannah, were new partners. And, Chipotle is a brand that could work with anyone, right? It's a brand beloved by gaming. And we always look for super fans of the brand. And it was clear, especially with Hannah, that she was a super fan of the brand. I remember her during her stream talking about how her family used to sit in the same booth every week after practice. And it was really cool to like hear her story and her connection to that brand. I think and it didn't hurt that her TikTok has about 4 million views about her talking about her typical day and how she gets Chipotle. So, those are ways for brands to come in, work with you guys. Obviously, we collaborated a ton with you guys, bringing those opportunities together. That's how we work with you. That's why you're part of this conversation, and how we can kind of help brands unlock the opportunities within the gaming community.
Right. Yeah, I think us as a whole, and why I've just been so interested in doing and am doing this work, is because I've always wanted to make an impact. I've always wanted to make a moment, and because of these brands, because of these powerhouses, I get to do that. I get to make magical moments. I get to be supported to do these cool ideas. It's because people want to be part of culture. People want to do cool shit. And so I think as a whole, it's nice to see more and more brands invest in gaming and being part of our craziness, being part of our, well, as before, people would think about us as, radicals or people who are violent, where now we're seeing our gaming community spotlighted for our enthusiasm, our creativity, our passion, our the kind of people we create and we generate from our community. So
Absolutely.
It's so nice to see such a refresh and breath of fresh air.
Absolutely. I think the stigma of who a gamer is and what, playing first person shooters is absolutely false. And we've seen that. And gamers champion the individual, celebrate diversity. There's no walls there. Sure, there's toxicity here at times, but I think the larger community as a whole is always pretty positive and receptive to voices, new voices, diverse voices, voices of all kinds. So as we kind of look, as we jump to our next question, something as we look to the future, what are some exciting innovations that you're looking forward to and that brands should have on their radar?
I think some great innovations that are coming up are, we're going to see more creator-led brands that become their own IPs. I say that because I think we're going to see more collaborations of brand and brand, whereas it's a creator brand and an X brand. So I'll give you an example. Emma Chamberlain, who's, an icon, a star, and in her own right has evolved from being a creator to more a celebrity now, started a brand called Chamberlain Coffee. She recently collaborated with Blank Street, which is a coffee shop. And so we see those two fusions of two brands working together and kind of doing something bigger than themselves. And so I think we're going to see a lot more of that in the next, coming years. We're going to see more creators figuring out what they like and what they're passionate about in terms of items or tools that they use and really making it their own. And I think that's opportunities for brands, restaurants, brands, food brands to be part of those moments. Like we see with like Rockstar and games where they collaborate. We will probably see different food companies collab with these creators for their brands. So that's a trend I could potentially see coming.
Yeah, and I think you had I think the Mr. Beast Burger, Feastables like chocolate line, that's just the start of, you had a great example with the coffee and the collaboration, but how many brands would love to have Mr. Beast Burger right now or his Feastables chocolate line? Like that is, I think, a really interesting because creators, for a long time, a brand would pay a creator to be their spokesperson, and that's the model. And it's not just in gaming; it's in traditional sports. It's in everything, right? Entertainment, music, movies. But I think when you get to the level of Mr. Beast, it's not. What he's proven is that you can monetize your name and create really great products and expand your brand beyond just being a creator. And I think that is, you hit it on the head, like that's the future. And so how do brands, smart, innovative, open brands who have in the past had this very traditional mindset of I have to sponsor someone, I have to partner with someone, instead of partnering, collaborate, make something unique and different.
Create something together.
Create something together. Create something that these creators have passion and they have skin in the game. Because a lot of times I've worked, in sports and entertainment and for 20 years. I ran the Campbell's NFL program for a decade. We always would partner with a Victor Cruz, and he would be the spokesperson, and he would have a tie to Campbell's Soup, right? Like just like Hannah may have a tie to Chipotle, but it was never a tie that he felt like he had skin in the game. Mr. Beast has skin in the game to make Mr. Beast Burger successful. So I think if you can, that's always a challenge working with creators, because they may love the brand, but they have no skin in the game. And I think you hit it on the head. It's like, how do you get skin in the game? How do you become a stakeholder that actually you want to see the success? Yes, you love this brand, but now you created this brand. You have vested interest in making sure this brand's success. And I think that's really important and interesting to see how things advance.
I think as we see creators have more accountability about their futures and are more educated about the space, we will see people caring more about equity and generational wealth for them and their families, and are doing more smarter decisions outside of their content that will, hopefully, invest for their futures. Because we know, as much as I hate to say it, a lot of creators have shelf space or shelf life, my bad. And so I think people are going to think smarter about how they spend their money and what they involve themselves into as they think about their futures and the companies they work with.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up, where can people find you?
You can find me on everywhere. TikTok at Caru, Caru, on Twitter at Carusel, Cirusel. And that's on Instagram as well. I'm more active on Instagram, so if you want to check that out. I'm also starting a new podcast called Finesse with my co-host Jay Dharma Wangsa. We talk about how we've kind of finessed the industry and how we share our own stories and other people's stories. So if you want to check that out.
Cool. So we'll give us the links, and they'll be in our description for people to check you out. Thank you so much, Caru, for joining us. It's been a really fun conversation. It's our first conversation, so I look forward to future ones. I know we've been working together.
It is our first conversation.
So I'm looking forward to working with you in the future. We've had a lot of success on stuff already in the last few months, and you've been a great partner, so I appreciate it. For everyone out there, thank you again for tuning in to another episode of REVXP Presents. Of course, we're partnered with Synopsis Media, so we want to give a shout out that there's still time to register for the upcoming Esports Business Summit that is in Las Vegas, kicking off on November 1st. Make sure you register soon. Again, description will have the link to that. Until next time, appreciate everyone's time. Play some games, have some fun, and we'll see you soon, everyone. Take care.